Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall.
What up?
And Michael Reed.
Hello there, all of you cool cats and kittens. I said it for a third time.
Dude, who are you shooing away there?
My stepdad Terry. I think he came in here to talk to me about the Nats draft, which is something that we've gotten away from, only focusing on Redskins as of late. But the Washington Nationals had a very good pick last night to start things off.
Yes, they did.
Cade Cavalli, is that his name? He's from I don't even remember what school he went to, but he's good. He's really good. And then they just picked another pitcher from LSU. Rizzo loves taking his pitchers. Both of them are big boys. They're both athletic, and also the Cavalli, however you pronounce it, is also played first base. So he's not going to stroke. He's got like a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, but he's somebody who, like, when he's pitching, if he's hitting, he's not going to struggle. He's not just going to be an easy out like most pitchers. Like, he actually has ability to hit. So
yeah, good thing.
It'll be time.
Yeah, I love the Nationals. I really do. It's just I know I was listening to Grant Danny today, and I was just thinking the entire time, I don't even care, dude, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just Redskins right now. And it's all Redskins in my eyes, because that's everything that's going on, and I think that's the only thing that matters right now. And Ron Rivera had his press conference, and I wanted to go over that with you guys. But first, let me give you guys a brief overview of the podcast today. We might have a special guest stopping by at any point in time. I'm not really sure when, so we'll give you a heads up when they do get here. But we're going to talk about the recent pressers from the Redskins staff and players. So we're going to talk about Ron Rivera. We're going to talk about Terry McLaurin and Dwayne Haskins and Ryan Kerrigan's comments, because they had some questionable things to say, and they gave us some look inside the organization ever since Ron Rivera got back to the facility. So before all that, I'll go to you, Mike Hall. Ron Rivera specifically talked as soon as his presser started. The first thing he says is, Black Lives Matter. It doesn't get said enough. I'll say it again. Black Lives Matter. So let me go to you, Hall. What is your immediate reaction from Rivera's presser opening up that way?
Why you gotta go to the black guy for the answers, man?
Oh.
If he took that route, Hall, he would have went to me first.
This is true. That's so true.
That's true. But no, I mean, obviously, kudos to him. He's one of the Anthony Lynn, Mike Tomlin. Is there a third black coach? Am I missing one guy?
We got Tomlin and Lynn. I can't think right now.
Oh, Brian Flores.
Brian Flores, yeah.
He's one of four minority coaches, so he's in that small percentile. And with everything that's going on in the world, obviously, you heard in his quotes, he's praising Chase Young and Dwayne Haskins about going out and doing their thing in the community and kind of making their voice heard. And yeah, he's like a military guy, so obviously he's all about respect and equality for everybody. And for him, someone that's in the military, to recognize that the protests and everything like that is not really about the flag, and it's about the injustices and like Black Lives Matter, obviously. As like I said, kudos to him, and just kudos to him for going out and saying that, and I'm glad he did.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because there was one thing that I took away from Rivera's presser, and that specifically, and that was that Rivera said he talked with a lot of people, including several sports psychologists and members of the clergy during the past 2 weeks. He also talked to his older brother, who is a former officer. He wanted to get ideas and thoughts so he could educate himself. That right there. Because, when people immediately hear the one side of Black Lives Matter, they immediately believe that you're anti-police, you're against the authority, I guess you could say. But that's not the case what Rivera is saying here. He wants to get multiple aspects of this and trying to get ahead of it and saying, look, man, we got to calm down. We got to get ahead of this thing. And I think it shows the leadership of Ron Rivera and the kind of man that he is, the way that he opened that presser. It speaks a lot about who he is. What do you think about that, Reed?
Yeah, I love it. I love what he did. He's taking a stance and speaking for the franchise, and he's just being a leader. He before he opened his mouth and came out with any comments, he talked to people. He talked to, like you said, different psychologists, different coaches.
You got to appreciate that.
Right, and really got their viewpoint and says that he supports his team 100%, and that that's the one thing. I mean, obviously the situation is horrible, what happened with George Floyd, but the one thing is that is getting everybody talking, and some people, I shouldn't say everybody, it is getting people talking, and it is helping people understand that there is an issue, and that things do need to change. And I love that Ron Rivera came out and said that. It just, both of you guys are right. It just shows his leadership, what he's all about. If his players are concerned about something, or he wants to know it, he wants them to feel comfortable in coming to him and talking with them. And that's something that the Redskins haven't had in a very long time.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was Hall who talked about it a couple weeks ago, I believe, on the podcast, where he said that Ron Rivera broke down the wall in his office, so that way it's an open that anytime players can walk in and talk to him.
No, that was the other Black Mike.
That was this Black Mike. No, but and like Hall said, even though he's a minority, he might not be Black, but he is somebody who can kind of maybe identify a little bit just in that terms, not of course with everything that's going on. He doesn't know what that feels like. So that was also good that he stressed, that even though he is a minority, he doesn't understand what it's like to be Black in today's USA, and he never has. So it's good that he's had conversations with people and that he's trying to understand what's going on, and we'll take it from there. And also with what Kerrigan said in his presser, that it seems like every single person on the team is on the same page about what's going on in the world right now. And after hearing Adrian Peterson say that, of course, he's going to be taking a knee, and that he knows other people on the team will too, that's good. Like, that's one thing, is the camaraderie in the locker room. Everybody's on the same page, and you just love to see that. It's a good start with Ron Rivera.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right about that, because he's taking the right approach to this. He's saying, look, if you want to kneel, I completely understand, but don't tread on me. Like, don't judge me for being able to stand if I want to. So I think that's where this whole thing is about. Being able for people to be able to feel and express how they want to, especially in this kind of capacity. I love Ron Rivera coming out and giving that kind of aspect to it. And I give a lot of credence to Ron Rivera for saying he wanted to have the most educated opinion as he could, given the fact that he doesn't know about the situation, is not involved in that kind of atmosphere. So I give a lot of credit to him for not wanting to just come out with some ignorant take. Like, he wanted to make sure that this was an educated take, and I absolutely love that about him.
Yeah, and that was my biggest thing. It's like a lot of like people are coming out, and it's just kind of like, in the past, it's kind of just like they make a social media post or they kind of speak on it in public, but they never really put action behind it. And it's just one of the things, like Reed said, going back to his character, he's just one of those character guys that if his players feel really passionately about something, he's going to get behind them. And for him to go out and get different opinions and get educated about it, I mean, what more can you ask for? Absolutely.
And guys, we are joined by our special guest. Welcome to the Burgundy Zone, Mr. Chris Bryant. Hopefully it's coming. Oh, there he is. There's his picture. Hey, his audio is connecting right now. So, everyone, welcome to the Burgundy Zone. We are joined by special guest Chris Bryant of the Hogfarmers. Thank you so much for joining us, brother. It's good to see you.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, man?
What's up?
Hey, it's such a pleasure for you to be able to join us tonight, Chris. And I wanted to bring you on here because you recently came out with a new T-shirt, and I wanted you to kind of briefly talk about that new T-shirt and the significance of it.
Yeah. As you know, we want to run a nonprofit for children's pediatric cancer. So as we're growing and developing new things, we wanted to do a T-shirt for a child. So we didn't want to do just a regular T-shirt. We wanted to incorporate something special into it, something that would make the kid feel special. So as you know, with pediatric cancer, kids have chemotherapy ports in their chest when they go get treatment. So what we did was, I actually have the T-shirt here. We had it altered. It's a Hog Farmer T-shirt. It says "Be strong," and the whole side snaps away. So the kid doesn't.
Wow.
So either it's great for a boy, and it's even better for a girl. That doesn't have to take their shirt off, so they can feel comfortable.
There you go. That's super creative,
dude.
That's awesome.
That is such a great idea, and I had no idea. Look, I've seen the pictures of the shirts on Twitter, and I had no idea that was the kind of aspect to them. A lot of credit to you, Chris, because that is something awesome.
Thanks.
And so,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, my fault, because I've been wanting to bring you on here for a while now, and knowing that your kind of relationship and what you do and kind of the aspect that you have. I want to see, because you were one of the first people, I will admit, because in private I'd probably tell you exactly. You were one of the first people to talk about Ron Rivera. Nobody will give you credit for that, because it was late in the season. I remember you were talking about Ron and how much of a pleasure would it be. So let me gauge, how excited are you that Ron Rivera is at the helm, and what you've seen so far? What is your take?
I mean, yeah, I made a post about it a while ago when the Panthers nation was kind of wanting him to go, and knew when he's going to be released, the coach we had wasn't doing so well. So yeah, I mean, he's a tough, knowledgeable. I mean, he's been to the dance. When's the last time we've had a coach that's been that far? That he's experienced.
Right.
He's no nonsense. He knows what he wants. He's not playing around, and he's ready to build some great football players. So I'm excited.
Right. Especially people always forget that Ron Rivera is one of only a few coaches to win multiple Coach of the Year awards.
Yeah.
Like, Ron Rivera has been a very good coach in this league, and he's well respected. You just hear the things that his players said about him as soon as he signed with the Redskins. Like, Gerald McCoy saying that he was the best coach, and not only best coach, but best man that he's ever played for. And just hearing some of these things about him, it's awesome to see that we finally have somebody like that, and to see Snyder maybe kind of taking a step back and allowing the coach to actually do his thing. Hopefully, let's put that out there.
And honestly, and during this time, it's really awesome to be able to have Ron Rivera here, especially with everything going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and George Floyd. Imagine if it was the previous coach still here. I mean, given the whole viewpoint of the name and everything now, imagine how much heat would be on this organization if we didn't have Ron Rivera, because he's like the one bright light guiding us through this thing, right? Because there's a lot of heat on the Redskins, and it's a big time. The fact that we have Ron Rivera here, I'm absolutely grateful for, because, look, it could be much, much worse.
Imagine Jay talking about that right now. Oh, man, we got some people out there, man. They feel one way. We're going to have the other guys in here. They're going to be standing for the anthem. It's just, we're going to make our team. And you just be like, come on, Jay. Jesus. Say something with substance.
But, Chris, I wanted to ask you, you recently said that you were looking into some away games this season. And so I wanted to kind of pick your brain on where the kind of meetups are going to be this season for the Hogfarmers. Where can Redskins fans come find you guys?
Well, I'm trying to make every game this year. It's all up in the air with the pandemic. Right. But with all given and everything goes back to normal, I'm trying to go to every game except for Dallas, because Dallas is on Thanksgiving and my wife said no. So, I mean, the Redskins usually hold a rally not far from wherever the stadium is, and we always go to that. And then just kind of come in a day or two before and just try to see and enjoy the city. That's kind of part of the experience, be able to enjoy the away fans. Because, I mean, I'm all for camaraderie, unless it's the Cowboys. But, yeah. But, yeah, we'll be around, our social media. So just hit us up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate you coming on, Chris, because, you're a big figure, and you are, I guess, the face of the identity of Redskins Nation. You guys lead us, you guys really do exemplify us really well, and I do appreciate everything that you do, brother.
Yeah, is that a Darius Geis jersey?
Of course. I got to run.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Of course, I appreciate you guys having me on. I watch your show all the time. I'm really busy with a lot, so I might not get to see it as much, but you guys are doing a great job.
Hey, I appreciate the kind words, Chris. We know you're a busy man, doing good stuff. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Chris. Hopefully we can get you on again.
I got.
All right, brother.
All right, take it easy, man.
Later, guys.
But the next thing I wanted to get to was I wanted to go to Hall. I wanted to get your input on this. Rivera said something about Haskins, and he said Haskins has really taken what they have talked about to heart. And he said Haskins has been working hard to prepare for the season, and he appreciates the work that he has seen. So, Mike, let me ask you, what do you think that was that Ron Rivera talked to Dwayne Haskins about? What do you think? Because given what we know about Haskins, and Ron Rivera is saying he's done everything I asked of him to be, what do you think that he was saying to him?
Obviously, with him getting his body and kind of like getting more mentally and physically in shape, I think that's basically part of it. The whole leadership and basically maturing as an athlete and becoming a leader, becoming a man instead of just a boy fresh out of college. I think he wanted to tell him this is his team now, and if we're gonna go where we need to go, if you're gonna take us there, or we're gonna get to, you know what I'm trying to say. But but no, yeah, I think that it was mainly just about his leadership and his work ethic, and just being the first guy in, last guy out. Obviously getting like some teammates together and doing some throwing sessions. Just really working hard, studying in the Zoom meetings. And that's what Ron Rivera was saying. He's just saying that he's been really grinding and working hard and putting the work in. And what more can you ask for at this point in time when there's not a lot of stuff going on in person?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one thing that Ron Rivera told him was, look, you are the quarterback here. We're bringing in my guy. But look, this is your team, and these are very unique circumstances that are happening. And you can either use this as a crutch or you can use it to motivate you and to make the best of the situation. And I think that's what Dwayne Haskins did. Is for somehow he was able to work out outside with other guys without anyone giving him crap during the quarantine. I mean, if you think about it, he was one of the only people that was out putting stuff out there with other people, and nobody was coming back. And I'm like, hey, man, why are you outside? That was very impressive, and he is working hard. I think you're absolutely right about that, Hall. What about you, Reed? What do you take away from Rivera's comments?
Just the one thing that I will say is everybody is talking about how hard Dwayne Haskins has been working. I know he posted a tweet the other day where he stepped on the scale. He was 218. That's down when he was, I believe, post combine. He was 235. So that's a big loss. And not only Rivera, but McLaurin too. Terry McLaurin saying that Haskins is in the best shape of his life, not only physically, but mentally and in his personal life as well. So I think that we can begin to expect big things from Haskins. And like we've talked about multiple times on this show, he's doing everything that we have wanted to see. Everything that we've asked from Dwayne Haskins, he is doing, and that he should start to see the fruits of his labor this season, where he should start to produce. He should put up some decent numbers and show that he is the guy. If he continues working like this, there's no doubt that he can be successful. He's got all the physical tools. He's got everything that you want in a quarterback with a big arm, and it seems like he understands defenses. So him putting in the work and understanding the offense and getting a repertoire with wide receivers, I think is going to be huge.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. It's look.
I know I am, Kyle. I'm always right.
Yeah, and I do say that a lot, quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, and
no, I'm just letting you know I am always right, brother.
And the other person,
I was about to cut a wrestling promo.
You're right. And the next person I was able to talk yesterday was Dwayne Haskins. And one of the things that I took away from him was that he said that Terry McLaurin is in the best shape that he's ever seen. He's looked the best, and that's scary, because if Terry's even working harder than he was last year, I mean, my goodness. Like we talked about this, sky's the limit for this ball club. So, Hall, good to you. We kind of talked about the quotes before the pod. What is your thoughts on Mclaurins comments? On Haskins' comments? Do you think that McLaurin is going to take another step this year?
Without a doubt in my mind, I think he'll take another step. With kind of inconsistent quarterback play last year, he was up around 1,000 yards. He was in the race for Rookie of the Year. He was obviously the biggest playmaker on offense for us. And I think that Dwayne Haskins coming in with a full offseason, even though with the whole COVID thing going on, it's still technically a full offseason. He's the guy. Everyone knows he's the guy. There's no question about it. And I just think that Dwayne's going to bring a little bit of consistency into the quarterback equation, which will produce for McLaurin.
Dude, Dwayne Haskins has to listen to the podcast. I mean, listen to this last quote from Haskins said he cut out a lot of toxic stuff out of his life, which has led to him slimming down. Said he's lost about 10 pounds since starting off-season training. He has literally been listening to Reed. Talking to him about losing his girlfriend. Because, look, he cut out a lot of toxic stuff out of his life,
Right.
Yeah, everyone knows what that code's for.
Right. It's not only just things that are bad for your body, but it's things that are bad for your mind. Yeah. Dwayne Haskins, I love his approach this offseason. And what was the question before this?
Oh, it's just talking about Haskins' comments.
Okay, yeah, no, totally. I know. Dope comments. He's
Dope
good.
comments, dope.
Dope
No, but
comments.
in all seriousness, Ryan Kerrigan did speak today. Him and Terry did. I know Terry was the one interview that I was most excited for because, look, he was going to give us a look into Dwayne Haskins, and we got a lot out of Terry, more than what we thought we were going to get out of him. And he said he's his biggest critic. He works harder for himself. He just wants to get better and better every year. And that's so crazy to hear, that this kid is going to work harder already to be put on top. And then the cap the day off with Ryan Kerrigan talking about how excited he is about going to a 4-3 and how excited he is about Chase Young. So, Reed, I know that Kerrigan was one of your favorite guys. So let me hear your comments on his presser today.
Yeah, I'll just say something about both of them real fast. Terry McLaurin saying that just hearing Terry McLaurin say that he wants to be dominant, I think is scary for the rest of the NFL. Because you look at what he did as a rookie. I mean, Stephon Gilmore, who's considered the best cornerback in football, only had a 40.3 grade in coverage against Terry McLaurin. Darius Slay had a 39.3, I believe, grade in coverage against Terry McLaurin. So he was doing some amazing things against some of the best players in the NFL. And it's good to hear him still have that mindset that he doesn't want a sophomore slump. He doesn't want to downgrade. He wants to be better than he was last year, which is going to be hard to do. But if anybody can, he can. But Ryan Kerrigan, I just think it's good to hear him, how excited he is, how excited he is about this front, accepting a lesser role and kind of help guiding these younger guys like Chase Young through the process of becoming a professional football player. And I think Kerrigan is completely right. I think him in a 4-3 is scary, especially with this talent around him. And just speaking of that entire D-line as a whole, D'Angelo Hall recently said that with all the talent that we have on that defensive line, that he wants to come out of retirement and play for us because he thinks he can still get it done and play at a high level. So it just speaks the volumes about Ryan Kerrigan. He was talking about pushing a car, literally working out and pushing a car. Kerrigan said something like, the weight of it isn't what's hard, it's the distance. And you're just like, sick, bro.
Yeah. Well, basically saying, it doesn't take that much to push it, but it's just how far you got to push it. Which is absolutely ridiculous from Ryan Kerrigan. But one of the things that Terry McLaurin said is that the coaching staff has talked to him about playing the slot more, which goes to his strength. So let me hear your reaction to that, Hall.
Like you said, that goes to his strengths a whole lot. That's what he did in college. He was more like a slot guy because he was the kind of third, fourth receiver on the roster. And with that speed and agility coming out of the slot, I think it's going to be a mismatch all day, every day.
Yep.
And just going back to what Reed said about Darius Slay, and he had like a 39 rating with him last year. Darius Slay came out earlier this offseason and said that between Devontae Adams and Terry McLaurin, those are his two hardest covers. And he obviously sees Devontae Adams twice a year. So that's very, very high regard for Terry McLaurin. And like I said before, just like you said also, for him to be like, I want to go into the offseason and I'm going to work harder and harder and try to be the best. I mean, when have you heard that from a Redskins receiver in probably our lifetime? And actually has the potential to become like a top 5, top 10 receiver in the league. So I'm just very excited for McLaurin, and I'm glad that we picked him up in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and the one thing that I did take away from that was if they're asking Terry to play the slot, that means that they're going to be doing a lot of the 2 heavy wide receiver sets, which means multiple tight end sets, a lot of heavy sets with the tight ends. So that way they only have 2 wide receivers to one side. And if you're going to have those 2 wide receivers there, you're not going to have AGG play the slot in that case. So that's why that's what I took away from that. And if that's the case, dude, I told you this is going to be one silly offense, given the fact that we haven't even talked about Steven Sims yet.
Can you imagine Gibson and McLaurin? Gibson on the outside, McLaurin in the slot, and then like AGG on the other side. Like that's a lot of speed on one side, and then a big deep threat on the other side. Like it's a wide open offense.
Right, and that's the other thing. It's just the theme of this offseason has kind of been versatility, and being able to have Terry McLaurin play multiple wide receiver slots really just helps out the Redskins. I mean, if you put him inside and let's say Kelvin Harmon does develop along with AGG and have those 2 physical bodies on the outside, or you can move around Antonio Gibson as well, Steven Sims, like it's going to be the defense not knowing who to line up or who to match up with Terry McLaurin on any given play is going to benefit the Redskins heavily.
Hey, sorry, dude, Bandits humping Co outside.
Just let it happen, dude.
Right in
It's
front of the
love.
basement door. I'm just sitting here watching it.
Free
Like, hey,
love.
stop. Thank
Free
you.
love. I'm pretty sure that's what the 70s
Get
were
it,
about.
Bandit. Get it, shit, dog.
Yeah.
Dude, he needs to stop, man.
Did you guys see that Doug Williams is getting a movie made about him?
Yeah, and that is amazing because look, he deserves it. He's the first African American quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, and it was an exciting fashion too. What they scored the most points in a certain time period. What was it, like 3 minutes? I think it was. They scored 24 points or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be good. I wonder who's gonna play Doug Williams. We'll have to get like a little list of
Vince
actors
Young.
that we would like to see. Yeah.
Young.
But we'd have to get a list compiled of actors that we could see playing Doug Williams.
Dude, I'm seriously though. You could Jason Campbell though. Those two are those guys.
Well, you want
two in the same.
What you want is you want actors, Kyle.
You don't think Jason Campbell would be a good actor?
No, I do.
No,
think
but
Jason
the worst.
Campbell,
No, but the most disrespectful thing ever is when like you watch a TV show and like there's something happening like with sports and like I remember seeing like this one acting thing where that dude threw the football and he was supposed to be like starting quarterback. Mike, you've seen that video where the dude throws the football, trying to be a starting quarterback and like throws it sideways.
Nothing.
Come on,
nothing pisses me off more than when people throw footballs like that. And by the way, I know exactly what video you're talking about. That guy, that actor, was so embarrassed that clip went viral that he had to prove that he does know how to throw a football and that he was just throwing it like that because the cameras were so close to him and he was supposed to be throwing it to somebody who was like 3 yards away. So he was like, but that and when people dunk in movies and they just fucking fly from like the 3-point line and you're just like, okay, no, I'm sorry. I could believe Air Bud doing that, but I'm not going to say
why you hating on Air Bud.
I believe him over Lil Bow Wow doing that at that age.
Lil Bow Wow was at that age, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a young boy. Shout out MJ, Michael Jackson.
So Catherine's watching this like new show, and it's like Game of Thrones, like on steroids with like sex everywhere, and it just doesn't make any sense.
What show is it?
It's called The Great or something. It's on Hulu. It's about like it's basically Game of Thrones, but it's about the Russians. And like but they all have British accents. No, but it doesn't make any sense.
They don't speak like Mother Russia.
No, that's why the whole time I'm sitting here, I'm like, she's talking British. This is Russian. This doesn't make sense.
First of all, how do you have more sex in it than Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones was all sorts of sick shit going on.
Dude, it's really weird. I don't even want to talk about it. It ruins my mood.
Well,
no, I'm the one that brought it up though. So like that's the stupid thing. No, but seriously, I'm a simple dude. I just love popping in the office and then just kicking back and watching Michael Scott make a fool out of himself.
Yeah, I've had during quarantine, I've had to dive deep into some TV shows. I finally saw Game of Thrones, BT dubs. I was never a Game of Thrones guy, and I finished that. Now jokes on everybody else who used to fucking make fun of me for not watching it because I saved it for quarantine. I actually was distracted during quarantine and I got to watch the entire thing.
That's a great point by you. But like Reed, the cool thing about Game of Thrones though was like the first like 2 or 3 seasons like went by the books. And then that's like when HBO kind of like took it over and started doing their own thing. So that's why it kind of goes haywire at the end.
I still liked it. I mean, now I totally understand why so many people compare me to Jon Snow. Like that's, I think, was the biggest takeaway from it. Like I'm just so honorable, just so good with the sword. Dude, I could probably lead.
I don't know who you're talking to, but I heard Hodor.
Yeah, that too. Because I'm so loyal and I just so good at holding doors open for people because I'm very polite. So, you know.
Okay, but so guys, we didn't talk about this yet, but we wanted to briefly talk about a couple crazy things that have happened to us. We'll just say these are like the stories of the week, I guess you could say. And I'll let Hall start out with this one because poor Hall, just for some reason trouble finds Hall. And so Hall, please tell us this story.
So this is back in about 2015, maybe 16, but probably most likely 15. I was just coming off of a DUI. Don't drink and drive, gentlemen. But just being young and dumb out here, just living reckless, if you want to call it that. And Yeah, just so didn't have a car at the time. Finally, my mom was just like, you know what, you can take my car out. Like, go to Gavin's house. It was actually, you know what? It was September. It was the kickoff of the season. It was like the
Mm.
first Monday night game of the season, I want to say. And obviously, if everyone knows, like Cottage was like the chill spot for like a while. And yeah, so I'm like, all right, bet I'm about to go watch some football. I got the car. Hell yeah. Of course, like an idiot, I'm like, I'm about to go to the beer store real quick. So after I just said don't drink and drive. Uh, so I go to the beer store right around the corner from my house, and just like the thousands of other times, I get out my car, leave it running, just run inside real quick, grab a little deuce. Just I don't want to be too drunk. Just a little bit, a little nice little buzz. So 2 minute transaction, So I'm just like, all right, cool. Run inside. Little backstory. When I pull up, it's like literally like 5 minutes before they close. There's nobody in the parking lot. There's a Liberty right across the street. There's nobody at the gas station. When I say like empty, like deserted parking lot. So I go inside, get my beer. Literally, like I said, not even 2 minutes, maybe like a minute and a half transaction. I walk back outside and I'm looking around like, this is weird. Could have swore I parked my car right in front of the store. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And I look up, and next thing you know, I hear someone say, stupid ass bitch, skirt. And I'm just like, damn, one of my friends playing a crazy ass trick on me, man. Like, whatever. So I'm just sitting there for a good like 5 to 10 seconds, like, so they're not coming back with my car. Damn, someone just stole my mom's car. Like,
oh my
what?
God.
So there, before another backstory, I had court that I didn't know about apparently.
I've done that.
Yeah, I missed my court date.
Been there.
But so I called my lawyer. Shout out to Chip. Gets me off on everything.
Chip.
And he's like, yeah, just I got it covered. Just stay out of the way of the police. Matter of fact, it was Sunday night. It wasn't even Monday. It was Sunday night. Stay out of the way of the police for the weekend. Come Monday, the warrant will be lifted and you'll be good. So of course, the first thing I do instead of calling the police, I'm like, shit. I call my mom like,
So you have a warrant, so you don't even want to call the police.
Exactly. So I'm like,
oh my God,
just got stolen. My mom just like, whatever. Like I'm just like, no, but like seriously, like I don't know what to do. Like your car got stolen. She's just like, what? Just like going crazy on the phone. I was just like, all right, well I gotta call the police. Bye. So I hung up the phone. So I'm just like, damn man, I got no choice but to call the police now. Call the police. Long story short, blah blah blah. So they're like, hey, we need your license registration. I'm like, all right, cool. So me in my head, I'm like, they're gonna see I have a warrant. Like, how can this not get any worse? Like, I'm gonna go to jail, and my car is the one that got stolen. This is back. So the cops just like, man, you look like you're having a horrible night, man. Like, I see you have a warrant, but it's like pending. So like, I'm gonna do everything I can to like not take you to jail because like this is a shitty situation.
Right.
Like, thank you, man. Like, appreciate it. Good looking out. Not even 5 minutes later, the dude's boss shows up, like the captain, sheriff, whoever the hell it is. And he's talking to his boss, and he's just like, he walks over to me, and just like, with the most like depressing look on his, even more depressed than me. And I'm just like, he's just like, I'm sorry, man, but my boss is making me take you in, man. And he said, I gotta like give you the warrant. I'm just like, serve you the warrant. I'm just like, really? Like my car got stolen. I'm the one going to jail.
Oh
like,
my
sorry,
God.
Man. So we fast forward. I sit in this freaking cell for a couple of hours. Blah blah blah. As I'm sitting there waiting to get discharged, one of the cops that was on the scene is walking by. And he's like, hey, man, what's up, man? Like, how long you been here? And I'm just like, like 2 hours, taking mine. I've been to jail a couple of times, like, been arrested, and that was the fastest I've been in and out. Pretty tight. So I'm thinking, like, well, maybe the night will get a little bit better. Like, how much worse can it get? So
right.
He's like, hey, man, like, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Just talking to me real quick, shooting the shit. So he's like, I got some good news and some bad news. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess give me the good news. Like, I've already had enough bad news tonight. Fuck. He's like, yeah, so we found your car. And I'm like, oh, my heart dropped. I'm like, thank you, God. Praise Jesus. At least like a little glimpse of light. And he's like, yeah, so you want the bad news? And I'm like, well, I mean, obviously. He's like, well, we found it at the soccerplex in Germantown, but apparently they set it on fire. And I was like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, it's pretty burned. Like, I don't think you're gonna be able to like get that back. Hope your mom has insurance. And I'm just like sitting there in shock, like, huh? So like to backtrack a little bit, whenever the dude stole my car, the police asked me first. They were like, "You got any beef with anybody?" I'm like, "No." I mean, if they don't like me, I don't know.
They were
about
interviewing Hall.
it. Yeah, they're interviewing
Right.
me. Like,
Well,
crazy
shock.
story.
Like,
So I'm just like, if they don't like me, I don't know about it. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm cool with everybody. Like, I don't know. I'm Mike Hall. Everybody likes me.
right.
So apparently, again, he's just like, so he burned your car. So seems pretty personal. You sure you don't got any beef with anybody? And I'm just like, literally at that point, I'm like, man, like, do I have any beef with anybody? Like, I don't know. And I'm just like, no, I mean, I don't know. And he's like, well, thanks.
What a crazy situation, dude.
What ended up happening? Did they catch the people that did it?
No.
No, he
Never.
burned it.
They just randomly
Burned the
burned
evidence.
the car. Right.
In
But
my
they
mind,
didn't see any
honestly, in my mind, I'm
cameras or
thinking-
anything anywhere.
No.
Honestly, in my mind, I'm thinking the dude like stole the car, took it out, did some like grimy shit, like maybe robbed somebody or like
Yeah.
hopefully he didn't kill anybody.
100%.
That'd be fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he's like, well, I got to burn the evidence now, and just took it to an abandoned parking lot in the Soccerplex and burned it.
Or I'm just
Wow.
simple me. I'm just sitting here thinking that dude just went and was like, I'm gonna steal this car, and was like, oh, I'll just burn it.
Yeah.
I mean, most likely.
What a
it's Germantown.
what a psycho.
Maybe it ran out of gas and it was a cold night.
But the
It
funny
stayed
thing is,
warm.
Hall
it was
talks about there
September.
was
It was
nobody out there. Hall talked there was
I mean,
nobody out there.
look,
Nobody
did you, like-
inside.
There was like literally like the beer store, and then the Capital One's there, and then there's a Starbucks there.
Did you leave the keys in the car?
Yeah.
he left
I
it
mean,
Okay,
Right,
it's
like,
not like he hotwired it or
No.
anything.
Yeah, no, I left
Whoa.
it in the car because it was like I said, I've done it thousands. of
Right.
times.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thinking anything of it, but like
Did you-
literally in my mind, I'm like,
Who does that?
like, yeah, there's no way to like this dude had to be sitting around the corner, like peeking around the
Waiting for
corner,
somebody
like,
to do
right.
that. Yeah.
Yes, I see a car, yeah. Because like I said, when I say literally it was 5 minutes before closing time at the beer store, there was like no one around. Like,
Did they even bother to check the cameras at the beer store or anything?
No, there was none.
yeah, there was none.
No, it's
Well,
like it's one of
okay,
the. No,
well,
the-
remind me to rob this beer store.
The only thing I
well,
could
no,
think
like
of was,
outside. Like he never went
Right.
inside. The guy
Yeah, yeah.
was only outside. Like they don't have video cameras for
Capital
pointing outside.
One or anything didn't have it. Usually
That's
at
what
every
I said.
ATM
I
that's
asked the
outside.
police. I was like, well, you didn't catch him on the ATM camera walking by the Capital One,
Right.
And they were like, yeah, we saw him, but he was like,
Couldn't make
it was,
anything
like,
out.
blurry. It was too blurry.
Yeah.
And, shit. And I
He
was-
Holy
was racist, y'all.
shit.
and that was like the only lead they had. And they were like, well, if you have beef with someone, you should probably tell us because we can like pursue the guy. And I'm just like, I don't know.
It was probably just random. I don't think they like.
Right, exactly. That's the crazy thing. Poor Hall some psycho just wanted to take Hall's vehicle and go set it on fire. Some guy.
Well,
Well,
was
let's
really
hope that
good.
it's one of our listeners who's changed his life around and will admit it to you.
no,
And he
but
just so happened to
Special
make a
guest
lot of
next
money.
week, the guy that burned the car down.
right.
Yeah.
But I was-
special guest.
I was debating on talking about this part, but I mean, it was so long ago in my life. You know, I've changed a lot, and but I have to tell it because it's such a great story. There was a good friend of mine that we went to school with. His name was, we'll just call him T. And he, like, growing up was like a dude that was just made for Cali. Just like that he was always talking about going to Cali, doing fashion and all that other crazy stuff. So he's literally about to leave for Cali. We're 18, 19 years old, fresh out of high school. He's about to leave. And so we decide that we're going to go on a ride. And I'm sure everyone out there understands what that means. And so he has a black Mazda 6, a little four-door sedan that's fully tinted out black. So he comes and picks me up. My parents are on vacation. They're down. They're straight-laced. They don't mess with any type of nonsense or anything like that. Tim and I go out for a good time. And so we roll
Tim
up.
or T?
T, sorry. So we roll. So we go.
The cat's out of the bag.
The
now.
cat's out of the
Oh,
bag
Tim.
now. I ruined the story, but so we go out. We start riding, and we roll up all the windows. We don't lower a window down, and so we start driving, and we pass like a cop on the street in our neighborhood, where it's like he's parked up on the street, but he's not like going to turn. He's just sitting there, trying to scope for speeders. And so we pass his car, and so immediately we're like, all right, it's tinted. You know what's going to happen. Hall knows what's good. Like, you know that the cop's going to trail you. But he didn't. So we were like, all right. So we go into his neighborhood, and we're like, all right, dude, so we're going to chill out here. We're going to hang out here for about 5-10 minutes. So we don't roll down the windows. We continue to stay there, hanging out. We're chilling. And then we decided to leave again. And we pass him again. So like, oh, crap. So we made another turn, come back around, and there's this one hotel over by his apartment complex. And so this whole time, we don't roll down the windows. We pull out. and the cop's sitting right there at the hotel. He pulls out right behind us. So Tim just fucking floors it, starts going fast as hell, right into an apartment complex. It has speed bumps and everything, starts going around the outer rim, and the lights go away. And I mean, mind you, we haven't rolled down the windows yet, and the thing's still going. And it's about a pinch left, and so we're going. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see, look at my rear view, I see headlights. And I looked at him, I was like, did you eat it? He was like, yep. We get pulled over right there in the neighborhood. As the cop's walking up to the window, Tim rolls down the window. And the cop goes, woo! And he looks down at him and goes, you remember me? Tim goes, no, I can't really tell. You know, I'm the cop that locked your brother up for some crazy shit. And he was like, oh, sorry, didn't know that. So he takes Tim out of the car. He calls in support. I'll never forget, these two cops roll up. And it was an older guy. He comes up to my door. And he opens my door and he looks right in. He looks at me. He goes, you high, ain't you, boy? I'll never forget. This old white dude, like big old eyes, like, you high, ain't you, boy? And I was like, yeah. So they let me out. So they get me out. They put me in handcuffs. They're all talking to Tim, and I'm sitting on the side of the curb, just sitting there. You know, you have to imagine I'm freaking out in my head because I'm in handcuffs. I'm like, dude, my parents are on vacation. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, my dad has to come back from vacation. He's gonna beat my ass. Like, I'm gonna die. Oh my God, I'm destroyed. Like, in my head, I'm going through all these scenarios, and all of a sudden I hear, hey. I looked over, and he was like, how you getting home? And I was like, I don't know. Tim was going to drive me. He's like, not anymore. You're walking. And I was like, sweet, I'm out. And all they did was just take Tim home. But seriously, that's all that happened. But it's just one of those stories that it's just so insane that we clogged up the entire car, came at this dude's face, and nothing happened.
Yeah, hi, ain't you, boy?
Jesus, you are lucky. I've had those situations multiple times, most of which I'm not going to talk about yet, but remind me on another podcast to bring up the acid story, and I'll do that. But till then, I'll tell another one. But I'm just going to say the names. I don't even care at this point. It makes it better. So the only people that you need to know besides me is Chris Marley, Pat Wilson.
Oh, no. If Pat Wilson's involved, it's a great story.
No,
Right.
that's what the story's about. So we're at a Nationals game. We're at a Nats game, and it's the middle of the summer, and we got way too drunk playing cornhole in the bullpen, the bar outside of Nats Park. And so we're out there for a couple hours playing. Finally we go in. Now, for those of you who don't know Pat has a big history of pissing his pants just all the time. Always pees his pants. And so we go in and we go upstairs to the red porch, the big bar that's upstairs that's always just packed. And there's a huge crowd. Like, you literally like just can't move in there. So I'm waiting in line to get a beer. And Pat pulls me aside as we're waiting, and he's like, "Hey, Mike, where's I gotta take a piss. Where's the bathroom?" And I'm like, Pat, I've been waiting in this line for like 30 minutes, man. You're gonna either go find it yourself, or you're gonna have to just wait. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And so finally, Pat just like wanders away from the line, and it's like he starts like looking around, like he's like about to steal something, like he's like looking for stuff. And I was like, "What is this motherfucker doing?" And like, keep in mind, it's still packed. There's people walking by him. There's people standing in groups next to him. And Pat's just standing there going like this. And it's the middle of summer, and he's wearing shorts. And all of a sudden, Tommy hits me on the chest. He's like, look at Pat. And I turn around and I look down, and there's just piss going down both sides of his pants, cargo shorts. And there's a big puddle. And he's just standing there going. And just in the middle. And finally, like... I'm like, Pat, what are you doing, dude? And he's like, no, shh, it's straight. Like, nobody notices that he's pissing. Finally, like, I'm like, dude, like, what? I get my beer because I was like, oh, what can I do at this point? I go, and it ends up being a bathroom behind the bar. Like, if you would have just turned a corner, there would have been one. But I'm pretty sure that he ended up pissing his pants like 3 or 4 more times because he had already peed. He was like, oh well. But so the entire time, every time we kept bringing it up to him, we're like, Pat, and you fucking you peed, like you were just still in your piss pants, man. Like, you peed. He's like, shh, no, it's straight. Shh, don't say that. I didn't pee. And we're like, Pat. And then there was another time where Pat cried when he met Fred Davis at a pool party that my friend was DJing. I'm not gonna tell that one, but that one's funny too. Pat's just like the ultimate
I met
He's
Fred
the
Davis
funniest
at the
human
club.
being in the world. Yeah, Fred Davis is pretty cool. Remember, he was at 106 when we went in there and on
Oh
a
yeah,
show.
we met him
Remember?
down there at
He
106.
came in there.
I
Yeah.
met him while he was on the Redskins when he was down in VIP.
Same. Yeah.
I remember he bought a bottle of Grey Goose, and he was down there by himself. And went up and introduced myself. Told him, I thought you should have made the Pro Bowl, even though you got suspended or whatever. And he was like, "Oh, thanks, bro. Whatever, hell, the Redskins." And then I saw like the bouncer escort like 2 girls down, and then I saw Fred Davis leave with the 2 girls, and they never came back.
Remember, didn't he like throw orange juice in somebody's face or something one time at a club when he got like suspended for something? I don't remember. He got into like a fight and threw orange juice, like big thing of orange juice in a girl's face.
Did he really? Dude,
Yeah.
I remember Hizer telling the story about how he got drunk at Sakura, and then he came home and passed out at a street light, and the dude that was behind him like was knocking on the window like, "Dude, I'm a Redskins fan. Like, please wake up. I don't want to call the police." And wouldn't wake up. Dude, I think he got locked up at like 2 p.m. Like, it was like middle afternoon. Who gets drunk at Sakura?
That's my thing.
Right.
I'm like,
That's
who goes to Kerrigan to get drunk? Like, what?
Right.
Who goes to
Don't you go
Japanese
there to
hibachi,
watch-
you know?
Right. Don't you go there to watch chefs pull amazing tricks with eggs and shit and get like
Make the
some poultry
volcano onion?
tossed in your mouth?
Yeah, I'm just go there for the volcano.
Yeah. Who goes there and is like sake bombs? I don't know. That's
Apparently
It's
Fred
weird to
Davis
me.
is. That's who.
kind of tight though. That's a super alpha maneuver.
No, it is.
Very,
It is
very
indeed.
tight.
But that was cool
Very
meeting
cool.
Fred down there in D.C. when we were with the Play to Win guys down and recording with him. It was cool to see him. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
back in the
He just
day
came in.
he was very wide, like, because that was in our heyday when we were out like really hanging out and
Yeah,
partying
he was
in
always
D.C.
out. He was,
He
always
was
doing
out
stuff
with
out there.
everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's out
couple
partying with
pictures
AY
of
like
him.
all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Him and AY,
Is it-
same club. They didn't really party with AY.
Yeah.
Pizza bang in the night.
Pizza bang in the night, yeah.
All right. Well, do you guys have anything else for us? I know that we have gone on this huge tangent on these stories and everything. Oh, sorry. I had one. Oh my God. Look at me. I can't completely screwing up. I'm completely forgetting about things I wanted to do. This week is the Weaver Weekly. I'm sorry. I forgot to do it, so I wanted to bring it up. And my father-in-law wanted to do the spotlight this week for the Weaver Weekly, so we give a shout-out to the Warriors. They don't normally get any recognition for being what they do, and they deserve a shot at it. And so my father-in-law, who is retired, is a combat veteran, was a colonel in the Army. He wanted to give up the Weaver Weekly Award to Colonel Anderson Sale of the U.S. Army. He just announced his retirement. He was a direct descendant of Meriwether Lewis, the Lewis and Clark expedition. And the reason why is because Anderson was the best deputy he ever had. He always had his back, and his strong point was attention to detail. Rarely missed details that saved lives in communications and logistics. So a lot of credit. Thank you so much for your service, Colonel Anderson Sale. I hope you enjoy your retirement. I hope you enjoy peace and safety as much as you can. Thank you so much for your service, you and to my father-in-law.
Yeah. Thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's about it for this week. A lot of thanks to Chris Bryant for stopping by, for being able to tell us a little bit more about Hogfarmers and the new T-shirt that they did. Please go follow them on Twitter and Facebook. You know, they are the peak of the Redskins fan base, and they do lead us by example really well. Go follow them. They are all about the goodness of the game. Now, we will see you guys next Tuesday. Hopefully, we'll have some more news for you, and another lineup guest for you. Well, I think we'll have another British guy coming on here pretty soon.
Oi.
And
Oi.
the Battle of the Accents is extending to this weekend. I'm going on the Redskins Tweet Team podcast on Sunday. So I'm meeting up with
It's
Burrows.
not a big deal. I want to hear you go do it out there, and I want to see you do your best British accent and just get shut down by all them.
See, Reed knows I'm terrible with accents. Like, I cannot do them at all. The only thing I got
Right.
was Burrows. So that's the only thing I got going for me. I think it's going to be really easy for him to do an American accent.
Dude, it's fucking weird seeing people that aren't American do American accents because
Yeah,
they're just like, oi, oi, and then I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna be like, hey, can I go out there and grab some? And you're like, whoa, you just sounded normal for a second.
It doesn't make any sense.
The best one I saw was this Asian guy. He was like, oh, yeah, but like fucking like an Asian guy. And he was like, now I'm a white guy. And he was like, hi, my name is John. I'm a lawyer. And I was like,
It's
whoa.
so weird
Yeah,
seeing
I was
it's
like,
so good.
whoa.
It reminds
Some of
me
them talk better American than we do.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point because I know my English is terrible.
Yeah.
I
Right.
screw up words all the time. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And I one time had a girl tell me that I was a 4, but I think she meant out of 5. So I wasn't too upset about it.
Well, it's all how you take the message, Reed. It's all that matters. It's all how you take the message. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Check us out on Tuesday, and check out the Redskins Tweet Team podcast this next week that we'll be releasing that I'll be joining in on. Please like and share our podcast on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on iTunes Podcast. Please subscribe and rate our podcast. That's how we get more exposure. Really appreciate everything that you guys do, all of our loyal fans out there. Burrows and Bacon and everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Redskins football. Woo!
Yeah.
Audio Jungle.